I get calls from my clients pretty often because they want to know how to get out of their music contracts. It might be a contract with a manager or music publisher or a record label, and it might be for a number of reasons. Maybe the parties just don't really get along anymore, maybe someone's not really doing what they said they were gonna do, or there's actually been some kind of breach of contract. So in this video, I'm gonna teach you how to think like a lawyer when determining how to get out of your music contract. Hi guys, I'm Miss Krystle. I'm an entertainment attorney, public speaker, and author of How to Keep Your Dukes Up in the Music Business. I'm the owner of Dukes Up Records, and most importantly, I'm an independent musician. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on those bell notifications so you don't miss our weekly videos helping you with your music career and on how to think like a lawyer. And be sure to sign up to be on our email list and you will get a free 50-page guide on music marketing and the best tips and tricks on how to promote your music on social media, online, and how to promote yourself in the music business. So for those of you looking to legally be able to get out of your music contracts, let's jump into it. Number 1, when it's not a real company. Now, most of our music contracts are going to be with companies. Sometimes they're with people, but oftentimes when it's a music publisher, a record label, or even a management company, they are actually entities. And so one of the first things that I will do when I'm kind of looking at how do we get out of a music contract is to see whether the contracting party or the company is actually a real registered legal company. If it's not a real company, then the contract is void. Meaning, it's like the contract never existed in the first place, so you're not bound to it. The bottom line is that you can't have an enforceable contract if the contracting company doesn't even exist. It's kind of interesting. I've found that some people who might have connections and have a little juice and a little, buzz going on in the industry because they've worked with notable names end up getting a little clout. And then they might start using the name, let's say, of a record label or a music publishing company, but they never think or even know to actually go and register it as a real company. So then here's what happens. I find out that the company doesn't exist, it's automatically a void contract, and so then we send a big scary letter on a legal letterhead, aka my law firm, and we say, well, it's a void contract, cease and desist, or whatever other issues might need to be addressed in the letter. And oftentimes we'll get some kind of angry response from that person or company because quite frankly, a lot of them don't even know that this happens. If you don't have a registered company, it's not an enforceable contract. So you might ask, how do I find out if a company is legit or not? And the answer is you do a search with the Secretary of State in the particular state that the company is supposed to be registered in. So if you look at your contract and you see the name of the company and then there's an address given for that company, then you can kind of determine what state it's supposed to be in, go to the Secretary of State website, do a search. That's how you'll find out pretty quickly, less than 5 minutes, whether that company is a legal entity or not. Number 2, a breach of contract. Now in your contract, there should be a provision, also known as a section or kind of that area of the contract, but a provision that's called termination. And the termination provision is usually how the parties know how they get out of the contract. And it might be for something like a material breach. Now, when I say the word material, I'm talking about something that was really important to the contract. So for example, if you do a song with a producer and you pay the producer a lot of money, and then the producer never actually gives you the song, that would be a material breach because it was material to why you did the deal in the first place. So you look at your termination provision, see if there was a breach, and if someone hasn't actually fixed that breach, that might be a basis that you can now terminate the contract altogether. Now, what happens if you don't have a termination provision? Well, what happens is that you can still look at whether there was a material breach, so someone didn't do something that was critical and the whole reason why you did the contract in the first place. If they made that material breach, they haven't fixed it, they haven't cured it, then that still might be a basis for you to send a notice of termination, either directly or through an attorney. And then sometimes there might even be a request for a refund or some kind of damages, but basically asking that you need to be made whole because that other person didn't hold up their end of the bargain. Number 3, negotiate before you sign. Now, this is more of a pro tip for those of you who really are starting to develop your thinking and trying to think like a lawyer. When you first start talking about doing the contract before you sign, this is really the point that you need to make sure there is that, what I called, a termination provision in your contract. And to be very clear, if certain minimal requirements are not met, that's going to be a basis that you can then terminate the relationship or terminate the contract. Now, a good example might be, let's say if you have a booking agent and you say, well, if that booking agent hasn't gotten you 12 shows in 6 months, then, it's not a good fit. You're going to terminate the contract. So if you actually set forth in the beginning of the relationship what that basis could be, no one's going to be surprised when that other person doesn't meet their end of the bargain, and then you terminate the contract. Number 4, contact an entertainment attorney. Now, if you're still at a loss at this point and you don't know if there even is a way that you can get out of your contract, it never hurts to contact a professional, someone who can actually go through your agreement and ask you some questions about what's been going on in the relationship and see if there's a way that you can legally get out of your contract. I've been able to do some creative lawyering for a lot of my clients to be able to get out of just really bad deals, relationships that just went completely awry, and it might just be because, there was something else in the contract that the parties hadn't really thought about, or maybe someone didn't ever fulfill or follow through on. And so it's not just about looking at the termination provision. Sometimes you read the entire agreement again and you look for things like the material terms of the deal. Did everyone follow through and do what they need to? And again, having that extra hand is never a bad idea, to have a professional entertainment attorney review your contract so they can give you at least what your options are as far as a way out of the contract. And when it comes to selecting the best entertainment attorney, you always want to make sure you have someone who specifically knows your types of deals and have looked at these contracts, done these contracts, because obviously entertainment attorneys don't just do music. They'll do films, they'll work with authors and painters. And so you just want to make sure that the person that you hire is very well versed in your types of deal and will potentially be able to find maybe that nuanced kind of thing that some other attorney might have missed to get you out of the contract. Number 5, renegotiate the terms of your contract. If all else fails, because maybe there isn't a way to get out of your contract because it's an ironclad contract. I will literally have clients that bring me a major label deal contract and it's a 40-page ironclad document, you ain't going nowhere kind of thing, and your firstborn has been committed to the label. Doesn't mean that you are completely at a loss and there's no way to kind of get into a better state, whatever the problem happens to be at the time. So what we'll do is sometimes we'll come back to the table and we'll try to renegotiate some of the terms. Because maybe one of the term is exclusivity. Maybe you can only work with a certain agent, but maybe that agent's gotten just really busy and so they can't really help you with everything that you need help with. And so maybe you can come back and now renegotiate to what's called a non-exclusive agreement. So it's very specific to kind of what's happening, the circumstances, and so this is definitely where having a professional to kind of help you through this and maybe even give guidance, because it can be beneficial to both sides. If one person is having kind of an issue in a relationship, sometimes both people are feeling the same way. And so by kind of coming back to the table and saying, how can we make this work better? How can we move forward? And so it's more fruitful for everyone involved, will sometimes allow us to at least renegotiate the terms so we're a little bit more happy moving forward until there will be what's called natural expiration, so when the contract just naturally ends. Have you guys ever been stuck in a bad contract? If so, drop a comment down below and let us know what your experience was like and what happened. If you guys enjoyed the music playing throughout this video and otherwise want to check out maybe some more dark pop kind of music, be sure to check out Miss Krystle on Spotify as well as all other music platforms. Be sure to come say hi on social media. I'm definitely the most active on Instagram, but you can find me everywhere, and it's been amazing meeting you guys. I'm gonna get out of here, but if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, turn on those bell notifications so you don't miss our weekly videos, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm Miss Krystle. Bye.